Capricorn, hi. I'm doing your place in the universe. So it's not an easy question. I'm sure you can grant me that. So we're going to try to just get a glimpse of something that might feel familiar to you in terms of how you feel your place is in the universe. I do believe I like to say it's multidimensional. So it's like a what, where, when, why, and with who. So that's why it's not so easy to actually decrete. And I don't think anyone should decrete what your place in the universe is, right? And I don't pretend to do that either. So I needed to say that because two cards came out. Anyways, let's talk about you now. You have the Holy Grail, inner discovery, finding sacredness. You are what you seek. You also have Gaia, gateway activation, learning experiences, wisdom transmission, and earth intelligence. How fitting for an earth sign. I always enjoy reading You Are What You Seek. So for me, there's a layer there of growth and evolution and things that could be changing over time in terms of what you want, what you seek, and what that place in the universe truly is for you. So let's keep pulling. Excuse me, I will disappear a couple seconds. Two cards. Wow, you get Warrior Woman. Have you answered your deepest calling? That's so cool. I mean, it's not gender specific, of course not. And then Imrama. Where are you being called to journey to? No way. Twice the word calling, right? So this is interesting because I told you about that it's, what, who, where, when, etc. So this is, in this case, it's a what, what is your deepest calling, as well as a where, because it's really pointing to where are you being called to journey to. So you might love traveling. You might be someone that has lived abroad, that will live abroad. It might be part of your vocation. It might be part of your purpose. You might sense that to be an important piece. Or if you haven't done so, there should be, and I'm making really certain that you understand that I'm not saying that it will be, that it could be, and it's more likely that it could be, that you go abroad to fulfill that purpose so that you eventually do, right? I want to just go back to something here. I mean, the first card, the Warrior Woman, asks you if you've answered your deepest calling. So I just really emphasized just now that if you hadn't traveled abroad, that you would or should, like I said, because I think it would be part of answering that call. So I feel that's really significant here. I'm not sure how it translates for you, of course, right now in your life. And if you don't see that now, I think it could be a possibility, a strong one. Let's draw the tarot now. let's see. Okay, I feel like shuffling a bit longer for your reading. Okay, so the deck is kind of exploded, but I just want to show you there's one card that flipped, and it's the Wheel of Fortune, but it's in reverse. I want to just say that for a reading like this, I didn't want to place all the cards in the decks upright, but I am going to consider the whole meaning of the card and not just apply a card in reverse meaning. So for me, there's a huge shift coming. Again, it's something that is, in your case, it's pointing out timing. And I just did Virgo, and also the Virgo reading had a piece about current timing, something happening soon. Whereas other readings that I've done for the series did not have timing. Or at least not that I can remember, not that specifically, right? Two cards. I believe that's... So I'm using the Bosch Tarot, so a Dutch painter from the late 15th into the 16th century. He was quite, I guess, eccentric. He drew sometimes non-human characters, interesting landscapes. So the Ace of Cups upright, and you have the Page of Wands came out in reverse. So let me just show you the card upright. I'm actually going to start here, and I'm going to pull more afterward. I want to show you that you have the Holy Grail and the Ace of Cups. So, I mean, I'm showing you basically the same card in two different decks, right? So that's extremely significant, I feel. Part of your life purpose is about love, romantic love, self-love, unconditional love, all of it. Connecting to source even, I believe that's part of it. I'm hearing there's a lot of rotation. It's funny because, I mean, if you think about love and you think about rotation, it's like, okay, how many lovers have you had, right? But it's just funny, yet it could resonate somehow for you, and it might not. I'm going to keep pulling because it's pointing so much to romantic love, and I'm really trying to answer the question about your place in the universe. So I don't know if a partner's of significance in realizing that goal or finding that particular slot where you'd really feel like you belong, that you're in the right place, doing the right things. Again, the multi-dimensional idea that you're in the right place at the right moment with the right person doing the right thing, right? there's some news coming around that, but it's not just around the bend, which is really interesting because it's coming, but I don't feel it's like necessarily, let's say, right at the corner of the, you know, right at the start of the new year, for instance. But it's not so far off either. Let's get some more cards for clarity here. Okay, you get quite a few. I'm not sure how many yet. Six. Okay, you get now the Knight of Wands, Seven of Swords. You get, who's this guy? The Emperor. The Emperor, but he came out in reverse. The Nine of Swords in reverse. The Eight of Cups. And you get the Star in reverse. Let's see. Well, there's definitely a lot of movement. I mean, you get the Wheel of Fortune, you get the Knight of Wands, and you get the Eight of Cups. So we do sense the rotation. The Eight of Cups is having left more than one situation, I feel, because there's a repetitive pattern here on the Wheel of Fortune, definitely. You might have experienced, so I don't want to talk too much about the past, but there is a piece coming in, so I will mention it because it feels that it ties in with this calling, right? So there's something that has changed to how it used to be in that repetitive pattern that you were in the past. So let me just finish the bit on the past. The portion, past portion. There's been so much avoidance, so much, I want to say maybe lies. It's coming through. I can't, you know, there's been stressing and anxiety related to that. So I feel it's part of the fact that things were always or ever changing, right? Kind of not working out, or kind of not being sustained on a longer period. So for me, it's pointing specifically to relationships, but it doesn't have to be. It could be a general statement also about anything you would feel committed to or try to really invest yourself in. That could be a repetitive pattern, repetitious, I wanted to say, energy. Is that even a word, repetitious? Anyways. Repetitive. I'm also sensing, I'm just gonna, again, I have one more thing to say about the past. There's been a lot of discouragement. There's been a lot of feeling let down more than once. Like feeling like there was never a future, and that's why you kept, you know, each place you went, each person you, relationship you tried, or always you felt like that there was no future. It was very, very, it was like yeah, it had no horizon. And it's really interesting that the journey piece comes in, because I do feel that it's not just repetitive because it was the same experience or the same sort of pattern, but it really, I feel that in trying to break the pattern, you changed countries or you went traveling, looking, you always were with the star hoping for something better, like, and always trying to find it somewhere else, right? So I really think you physically have moved places to recreate yourself. I mean, we do have the Emperor on the table, so it could be work related as well. It's of course possible, and the whole reading could be interchanged into any spheres of your life, right? Or applicable to any sphere of your life, not just love relationships. So let's try to look at how this applies to you now and this particular calling that I feel is really here in terms of something new, because we do have the newness of the ace, no matter what that thing is for you. I'm going back to the you are what you seek, right? You were seeking for so many years. The traveling piece is so proeminent here. It's crazy. You know, the warrior woman, it's like, I mean, I feel that you've often have cut ties. There's a lot of the Seven of Swords, Nine of Swords. You've cut ties many times over. And more abruptly, and probably more, you severed, excuse me, severed ties more than once. You know, like there are some people that are very good at cutting those cords. There are other people that are less inclined to do so, or they work out endings differently. So, but in this case, especially with the traveling, it was really like, if you've been relocating, it's really like, I don't want to know what, I really don't want to have anything to do with what was there, how it happened. I really want to like start fresh somewhere else. And I feel you might have done that more than once already, because there's so many cards of, you know, especially this one, you know, reoccurring patterns here. Okay, so let's move to the future. Okay, I do sense there's going to be really good news. Again, I'm telling you, I don't only consider the reverse in this particular spread reading. I do feel you're energized, you're full of enthusiasm. I think you really have something on your mind about what you're building. The Emperor is there. You have experience. You are competent, of course. You're stable. I mean, stability in this case, it's not because you travel or that you go live, you know, in different countries, that it makes you unstable, like fully. You know what I mean? Like it's, I still feel you have some form of stability within yourself in terms of knowing yourself. You know, the Holy Grail does speak of inner discovery. So you know yourself. You've discovered yourself through all these changes and moves and experiences, etc. I still have the residual energy that although I'm speaking of stability, you have a particular way of um, abruptly ending things. So it seems to be, I feel with the Emperor, sometimes extremely beneficial to you in terms of how you operate. I think there's something extremely decisive about that. Um, strong willpower, especially in terms of, I want to say almost like the reasons why you do it, like you know exactly what those are. You are able to express that, you know, you have your arguments against that, you know, in terms of, okay, this is what happened and this is why. You're very convincing. I mean, to yourself. You know, there's a lot of strategy implied by the Seven of Swords. It's a competency of the Seven of Swords, but it's also always, it tends to be to always be in your advantage, you know, at your advantage before anything else or anyone else. So that's something to look out for in terms of your place in the universe. You might want to not just always single yourself out all the time, because in the end it's like cutting, and yet this is, you know, it's like if you are what you seek, you're also cutting something about yourself, right? You're cutting yourself either from certain experiences or gaining even more stability or whatever that lesson might be. If I don't like to say lessons because I certainly don't want to come across as patronizing, that's for sure. But anyway, you understand the things that would make you grow, at least. Maybe that's better said. But there's a lot of newness, new energy, enthusiasm. There's a lot of passion here in terms of having lots of fire, gusto for life. It might really stimulate you when you start anew. So maybe out of that cutting pattern I'm describing, maybe it's not so much about wanting to be so drastic, but it's just like your way of always wanting to reach the new thing and doing the new thing and starting the new thing, and you know, something like that. So I'm not saying it's good, I'm not saying it's bad. It is who you are, what you are. And again, I don't pretend to know who you are, right? This is what the cards are saying. So it resonates or it doesn't. So especially for a theme like that, I really want to make sure that I'm not coming across to anybody as telling you who you are, because you know yourself better than anyone else. Okay, let me try to really see. I think there's hope. The star is here. I don't know if it's really hope, but it's attached to the new start, right? It's attached to seeking something that inspires you, looking for something that is wider, wider even in terms of experience than maybe what you've previously have gone through. Because I feel there's a particular opening, maybe even just your mindset, not sure exactly what it is, but there's definitely a huge opening. So there's something a little different about what you're starting in this new calling and this maybe new phase for your place in the universe. And particularly when it comes to relationships, I want to say. Like, contrarily to the past where you couldn't see your future, I think you have a very different viewpoint now, or you have a vision now for what that is. So now you see further out and you are looking to create that differently than the previous experiences where you didn't feel there was any horizons for you. It felt limiting. I mean, you got totally stressed out and you just chopped it off. You know, like, it feels very unbearable for you. Like, it feels very, very annoying and instantly recognizable for you that, okay, I'm done. It's I've done, you know, I've gone around the whole thing and I know what this is, you know, I know the boundaries of that, like I know all of it, and it's small. I feel that something that's felt small to you is something that you really abhor and that you really need to, like, either feel that you're not caged in, or that you really have been looking so long for something that offers you something that is really limitless, you know. And I much prefer that. I think that's really what it is. I think it's about what your own vision has changed into, for one, because I usually think that the way we see the world is partly on us, right? So when you felt that it was limiting and everything, it could have been, yes, true, part of the environment and the experiences and the people and whatnot, but part of it was also you. You were partly responsible, is what I'm saying. So maybe you've changed, you've discovered something, which I feel is this inner discovery. You are what you seek, so you're at peace with something. It's different. And there's a new calling. There's definitely something new for you. There's going to be good news. There's going to be movement towards that, because there's definitely movement towards that. It stimulates you. It calls to you. But I wouldn't discount that if you have this new vision for yourself, and you're the emperor now, so hopefully you've gained also the insight of how you are so abruptly, how you can so abruptly change and move out of a situation and cut it out, right? I hope you've worked out that piece, that you know that about yourself, because it'll make a difference in terms of how you experience this new vision and this new start. It'll be completely, I mean, it's part of it. Like, if you're not conscious of that, like, it might still repeat and you might, quote unquote, spoil something. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, let's draw that last card, a different deck. This deck is in French. I will translate. I'm gonna have to pull. I love this. La poussée vers le haut. it means the push towards up, right? The push upward. So it's interesting because I told you about how the horizon and this, I didn't say the sky, but I did with my hands. I said you were looking at something way bigger. So that's what it is. It's a push, and I feel now it's confirming that it's upward in terms of, I did mention also your connection with source, right? In terms of when I was describing it really at the beginning. So there's something there, definitely. Okay, the words are constant evolution, a gain in confidence, and that's the Emperor. The acceptance of challenges, promotion, and recognition. That's really amazing. Really beautiful. So out of, for the calling itself, for your place in the universe in the next, I guess, in the next phase or something in the future, right? Now that we're really looking into what's coming. You get promoted. At least there's recognition, and recognition could be not just like being recognized by your peers and, you know, rewarded for blah blah blah, not like that. I mean, yes, but it's also when you recognize something, it's how you acknowledge it. It's how you see a pattern. I was describing, you have a pattern that I told you should really hopefully be aware of and try to work with in terms of the new future. It's also recognition of, let's say that you're looking into the new future, like being able to recognize what's in front of you, right? When it actually shows up. All of that is implied here. So I will close the reading here. Thank you so much for listening. I appreciate that. You can like the video, of course, share, subscribe. I'll see you soon. Good night.